what's up and welcome back to ByStephieNics. Now, I've got a question for you. Sorry for getting personal, but are you watching random YouTube videos instead of studying again? I mean, no judgment, I've been there. But good for you for clicking on this one, because we're gonna turn you right around. I'm gonna give you some tips to help make you the most focused studier you've ever been. So you're gonna want to enjoy these last few precious minutes of procrastination because we're getting started. Okay, so I feel like we need a little backstory of why I'm doing this video in the first place, because if you're new to my channel, you might not know this, but I usually do makeup videos, not really school-related stuff, but I'm a college student and I am smack dab in the middle of finals right now. I just had a giant 10-page paper due yesterday. You don't even know the relief I feel being done with that paper. Bless up. So sitting at my desk hour after hour, day after day, just writing this paper, I started to think about all the little tips and tricks that I was using that I've built up over the years to kind of help my focusing, make myself a better studier. And I thought I should share this with you guys because, trust me, I was not born the most organized, focused studier. It's taken a lot of work. I got there eventually, but if I could help some of you guys out there in that process of becoming a better student, I gotta do it. You know, the struggle is real. We gotta stick together in this. So without further ado, because I've got many finals to study for and I know you're putting off something too, let's get right into the list. Tip 1. Okay, so we've all been there. You have a test coming up. You go to your computer to print your notes and it says 27 pages. That is too many pages. I know that if I sit down with a packet of 27 pages, I am gonna be asleep within 2, because it's just too daunting. It's so hard to keep focused when you know that after you finish page 1, there are 26 more to go. So what I've come up with to kind of trick the mind into thinking it's not as much stuff as it is printing multiple pages in one. What does this mean? I've got props, don't you worry. So this is kind of what I'm talking about here. I just took 6 pages of notes and combined it all onto one sheet. This is something you can do with any word processor in print settings. It's like under like page layout, it'll say how many pages you want a sheet and you'll be like 6 or 4. 6 is kind of crazy. The text gets really tiny. That's not gonna work for everyone. So even just taking 2 pages of notes and combining it onto one, that's gonna cut your number of pages in half, which is huge when you're sitting there dead tired with 5 finals to go and it's like a packet of notes this thick or this thick. It does help. Tip 2. This tip is all about colors and memory. So to help you remember material better, it actually really helps to split different topics with different colors. Now this works whether you like working on the computer better or paper and pen, all you retro people out there. On the computer, it's as simple as just selecting text and changing the color, or highlighting headings of different things in different colors. You know, this section's gonna have a blue highlight and then the next one's gonna have a yellow highlight. And if you're working on paper, obviously just different color pens, markers, highlighters, basically the same thing, just paper version of it. And it might sound like a waste of time changing around all the colors, but it's doing more than just making your notes look pretty. It'll really help you when you get to the test with recall. Like I took abnormal psych a few semesters ago and there was so much overlap with the symptoms from one disorder to the next. So in my notes, I made one disorder blue and the next one yellow and the next one orange, and I split them all out by color. So when I got to the test and there was a question about a certain symptom, I could tie it back like, oh, right, I remember that being with the green. Green was anxiety, and then bam, I got my answer right there. I'm using anxiety as an example because we're all freaking out over tests. Relevant. Tip 3. Okay, so now this one is really cool. This one I literally just came up with while I was writing my paper. I'm sitting there, you know, typing and then just like looking around, going on the internet, not really, you know, focusing on what I'm supposed to be. So I implemented a 5-minute timer to get me back on track. Now, what does that mean? Let me tell you. So I have an Apple Watch. This is not sponsored, but heck, I wish it was. Here is my Apple Watch, and there is a timer. Obviously, you can do this on other watches or on your computer or on your phone, but maybe not your phone. That'll come up in a later tip. But anywhere you can get a timer, go into your timer, specifically with the Apple Watch timer. If you scroll down to the bottom, there is a little button that says custom. So if you click custom and it's already set, you set it to 5 minutes and then you hit start. So in 5 minutes, it's gonna vibrate on my wrist. I'll just hit repeat and there I have a constantly repeating 5-minute timer. And if you want it to, it really can help kind of get you back on track. If your mind has been like distracted or, you know, you're stalking someone on Facebook, whatever, it'll kind of give you a little kick like, hey, you should be working. And if you don't ignore it, which you shouldn't. Don't do that. That's messing with the system. It really can help to get you back on track. It's also kind of double purpose because I really liked using it as kind of like a benchmark of how much I've gotten done in the last 5 minutes or 10 minutes or 15 minutes. It's like, whoa, I just wrote half a page in 5 minutes, and it's like, go me. Good for me. It's like a little virtual gold star. Yeah, let's call it that. All right, let me just cancel this timer so it doesn't go off while we're talking about tip 4. Okay, so it's obviously not a new idea that if you're sitting there falling asleep while studying, you can't keep your eyes open, you're gonna grab a coffee and that'll help you out. But I've had many days where I'm sitting there like not super tired, but also just like not really in the mood to work and focus, and I need like just like that little bit of energy, but not like a full coffee that's gonna, you know, bring me to full jitter and energy, and we don't want that. That's gonna be counterproductive. So what I'm gonna suggest to you is half calf. It's really a loud straw. Half calf is half caffeine, half decaf, so it's gonna give you that little kick, but not the full power of a full coffee. Also, it doesn't hurt that every time I say half calf, I think of kicking and screaming. You know that scene. That's a good movie. I gotta go watch that again. But seriously, one more thing to keep in mind about caffeine. You gotta remember it's dehydrating. So every time you have a cup of coffee, that depletes you of 1 cup of water. So I got my coffee on one side and water bottle on the other. I obviously drank more of the coffee today, so I gotta get to drinking this water. Tip 5. Okay, so now our desk is almost fully stocked. We've got the water, we've got the coffee, half calf if you don't need the full calf, but we still need a snack. Mindless eating really does help me to keep focused on what I'm doing. I'm sitting there studying. If I have a bowl of baby carrots, that's my go-to study snack. If I have my bowl of baby carrots there, you know, just grab one and you're chewing and you keep going and then you grab another one. It really, I don't know why, I can't explain this one, but it really does kind of help keep me focused on what I'm doing. The trick here is that you're gonna wanna try and pick a healthy snack because, you know, if you're just eating a lot of them, it's better if it's healthy. You know, like the whole thing, you are what you eat. So I would go towards something like baby carrots, grapes, cashew nuts, popcorn, chocolate chips, dark chocolate chips, those are healthy. It's always really funny when I'm studying because it's like sip of water, baby carrot, sip of coffee. It's like I have a whole system going on, but it works, okay? So do it. Tip 6. Okay, so just a little disclaimer, this one is not food or drink related. We are sadly done with those topics. It's more about those times when you have a huge task at hand. You have a 10-page paper. You have 27 pages of notes to study, and it's just, it's so scary to think about. You can't wrap your mind around it. That's what we're talking about here. My tip for you is to start with the least intimidating part. This is something like just color coding your notes, call back to tip 2, or just Googling your paper topic and just getting some general information on it. It's the kind of thing that won't feel like you're even studying yet, but that's the point. Starting with this stuff is gonna help ease you into that working mindset so you can then tackle the more heavy stuff you gotta do. Start small, work your way up. Tip 7. I can't keep that finger up. Tip 7, yeah. Okay, so my 7th little bit of advice for you is to experiment with the method of studying that you are using. Like we said before, some people prefer using paper and pen. I prefer using a laptop. But I vary my method depending on the class and assignment type to better fit it. So for history classes, let's say, what I've found works the best for me is I will turn my notes that I wrote on my laptop into a PDF, email it to myself, and open it on a tablet. All these different platforms, it's making me think of He's Just Not That Into You, you know, being rejected and I him on all these different platforms. We got a lot of movie references today, don't we? But back to the tablet. So I now have my PDF of notes on my tablet, and something about it being a smaller screen, this is like, call back to tip 1, it's just the packaging of the notes really changes your mindset about it. I find that I am better able to like get through it and memorize it on a tablet. But for another class, index cards work better. Either actual physical paper index cards or on a site like Quizlet where you can make digital index cards. So it's kind of like you gotta pair the material to the method. Another method that's worked for me is handwriting out my notes. This works if the notes were handwritten originally or they were on your laptop, either way, but just, transcribing them over. It may sound like it's busy work, and if it feels like busy work and it's pointless and like it's not going in, don't use this method. It's not right for you or for that assignment, but it could help. Some other methods I'll just throw out there right off the top of my head. Highlighting, the classic, just going through your notes or the textbook if you own it, and just highlighting out the material. That works for some people. Personally, not for me. My sister loves highlighting though, so it works for some people, not for others. Also, for some classes, I found that all it takes is just reading my notes, reading them back again, just rereading my notes a few times is enough for it to just stick in there, so that might work. Yeah, but basically the thing is you've got options and use them. Don't just stick to highlighting your notes if it hasn't been working for you. Experiment. Number 8. Okay, so now this is a fun one. We're gonna be talking about music. I feel like this is like a greatly debated topic, like whether working with music on helps you or hurts you. I'm definitely on the helps you side, but you gotta do it in the right way. Otherwise, I agree, it can definitely be a distraction. What is that right way, you may ask? I'll tell you. So what I've kind of found is that when I'm working and I'm like in the zone, there's a part of my brain that wants to wander, wants to like get distracted, pull me out of my focus. But if I listen to music, the right type of music, it kind of gives that part of my brain something to focus on. It's like providing just the right amount of distraction that the rest of your brain can keep focused. So I said the right type of music, and by that I mean something that's not going to distract you too much, that you start listening to the music and, rocking out to that rather than working on whatever you gotta do. You don't want it to be too big a distraction, just a tiny one. So some types of music that I would suggest is classical music. It's great because there's no lyrics. It can kind of just be background noise. I mean, this isn't gonna work if you're a huge classical music fan. You're like, yes, this is my jam. If you're just like the average level classical music listener, that should be fine. And if you search on YouTube, they actually have these really long mixes of classical music, something like 8 hours or 10 hours, like way longer than you're actually gonna be sitting there studying for. But it's good to pick those, because if you pick like a 4-minute or 5-minute or whatever short video, as soon as it's done, then you're gonna go back on YouTube to pick another song or hit replay, and then you'll see suggested videos on the side and get distracted. So it's always better to pick a longer mix rather than just a single song. Yeah. Another suggestion for type of music you can listen to is instrumental versions of songs that you already like, to get the benefit of listening to a song you like without the words that can kind of make you want to sing to it. My third music suggestion is actually something I found on YouTube pretty recently. They have these live stream kind of radio stations going on YouTube. I don't really remember what it's called, but I found this lo-fi hip hop live stream. I'll link it down below. I had never heard lo-fi before. I don't know, it's really, really interesting and it's cool. It's like a good vibe. It's really good to kind of keep in the background while you're working. I don't know, it's a weird time, but you might like it, so click it and see what you think. And then finally, if all that is still too distracting, but you're kind of intrigued by that thought of giving that wandering part of your brain something to focus on, try white noise. The thinking behind this is when you're trying to fall asleep and you put white noise on, it kind of cancels out all those thoughts that you have just racing around your head. It works the same way when you are trying to focus on something. So something like white noise or celestial noise that you can find on YouTube, and again, a 10-hour mix, it's gonna be really good background noise that you're not gonna be distracted by, but it's going to help allow the rest of your mind to focus on what you want to focus on. So that's a pretty good mix of stuff. You can play around with it, find what works for you. Yeah. Numero 9. Okay, so we couldn't get through a whole video of study and focusing tips if we don't address the phone. I know we don't want to talk about it. It's a tough topic. It's a sensitive topic, but really it is the biggest enemy to focus. So instead of keeping it next to you and just saying, oh, I won't look at it, I mean, come on. You know yourself. You know if you get a text, you're going to have to read it. You're going to have to answer. And then, oh, while you're on there, let me check Instagram. And, ooh, I haven't checked Snap in a while. I mean, it sucks you in. You got to admit it. We've all gone down that rabbit hole of, haven't been on my phone for 3 hours. I just was checking an email. If you've got an exam tomorrow that you really got to put your full focus into studying for, the best thing to do is just shut the phone off. Tell your friends, tell your family that you're gonna be shutting your phone off. You don't want them like texting you and calling you and reporting you as a missing person to the police. Yeah, like let's not have that happen, but it's definitely okay to shut your phone off for a few hours so that you can prioritize. I'm sure your friends will understand that like you got stuff to do and you need to just take a little phone break. If they don't, send them this video because they probably need focusing help too, okay? So that's what I'm gonna say about the phone. You know, if you want to keep it on and just say, oh, I won't look at it, you do you, but for me, I shut it off. I know myself. Yeah. Spirit fingers for number 10. We're gonna end off on another fun one. I'm talking about breaks. It's super important and very helpful to take breaks, but you gotta take smart breaks. By smart break, I mean two things. Taking the right type of break at the right time. What is the right time to take a break? It's when you've been working for a while and you can feel your mind starting to wander and you need to step away a minute, you know, refresh your mind and all that. It'd be the wrong time to take a break if you are in the zone, you know, just churning out paragraphs and just reading through notes, really feel like it's sticking. That's not the best time to go make a sandwich, you know? If you're really working well, stay in it. Don't squander that like focus that you got going on. We've put a lot of work into getting there. Don't just walk away from it. So you gotta recognize when to take a break, and then when you do decide to take a break, you gotta be smart in what you go and do. Something like going to prepare a snack, or watching a half-hour show you like, or even exercising a little bit. Sorry for even saying that, but like, you know, if you have an exercise bike and you enjoy going on it for like 15-20 minutes, that gets the juices flowing again. Those are all examples of smart breaks. You can see why. On the other hand, you have destructive breaks, things that are going to take you fully out of the working mindset where there's no way you're going to be able to go back to studying after that. That'd be something more like watching an hour-long show, or even worse, a movie, or planning to go out with your friends to something. I mean, getting ready, going out, socializing, having a good time is nice, but there's no way you're gonna be in a working mood when you get back from that. Let's be real. Bonus tip number 11? Okay, so I'm just throwing in this little bonus tip right at the end because this will really help some people, but for others, it's going to stress them out of their mind, so don't try it if you think it's not gonna work. I'm not trying to mess you up here. But what I'm suggesting is making up a little checklist of the things that you need to accomplish, because there is no greater feeling for me than checking off something once I do it. So like for my paper, I wrote out a little checklist of the different kind of tasks that I would have to accomplish in writing this paper. So it had things on there like look up sources, write intro, write conclusion, proofread, like for when I was done. So when I finished writing that conclusion, checking it off, it just feels good. It feels like you accomplished something. You have a little visual reminder of like, look at those 6 things that I accomplished and I only have 2 left to go. So it could help if you're someone like me, but for others, having like 10 things written out and they're all unchecked, it's like, oh my God, I have even more to do than I thought. So don't do the checklist if that sounds like you. That's why this is a bonus tip, just disregard. So yep, that's it for our 10 plus study tips that'll hopefully get you laser focused and boost that productivity. If you've got any study tips that I left out but you think might help someone else watching this video freaking out over an exam, make sure to comment it down below. Help out your fellow YouTube watchers. Also comment down below which tip you're most excited to try out. I'm really curious to know if this helped you guys, and if it did, leaving a like on this video lets me know and I can do more videos like this in the future. If you want them, let me know. Okay, I'm calling this as the end of the video and the end of my study break because it definitely already went too long. We don't want this to be a destructive break, do we? Good luck to all of you out there currently studying for finals, writing a paper, doing any of those things that we just don't like to do. But you're now gonna do them better, right? Right. Thanks so much for watching. I really hope this helped you guys out. And as always, this was ByStephieNics. Bye.